Boom! Alright, what's up you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, as you already know, we are going to be talking growth stocks and why I personally believe now is a great time to reinvest or go even harder on a few of your favorite names. Although many growth stocks have staged some impressive comebacks over the past few weeks, I still believe more short-term upside is ahead of us as we progress through the new month of April, which is actually the best month of the year for the stock market historically. S&P 500 gaining an average of 1.7%, and if the S&P is winning, it's likely the growth stocks are winning even bigger. You can take a quick look at the watch list right here. Today was the first Monday of the month of April, and just so many names that we cover here on the channel, not just on the watch list. Just crushed it today. ARK, which is a great ETF that we're going to be taking a look at today, up almost 4.5%, which is a big move for ARK. VUSI, Matter, SoFi. I mean, VUSI up almost 12% at one point today, closing the day at just under 11% up. That video we just posted, #1 stock pick for the month of April. I mean, we're only a day in from that video, but I'm happy to see that it is aging well. And again, you guys, not just the stocks that are on this watch list, but so many names across the market, so many growth stocks just crushed it today. And yeah, again, with this knowledge in mind, with so many other factors at play, which I'll do my best to explain as we progress through the video, I'm just feeling so confident in the fact that growth stocks do still have more short-term upside ahead of them. As we move into the summer, things might start getting shaky, but for now, we focus on the here and now. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys about what I'm thinking in terms of price action. We won't be taking a look at any individual company today. Instead, to keep it short and sweet for you guys, we are going to be taking a look at ARK Innovation ETF, or ticker symbol ARKK, because in my opinion, this is the single chart that best sums up the growth markets, growth stock market, I guess, growth stocks in general, simply because this ETF made by Miss Kathy Woods, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with ARKK. This ETF is comprised of innovational companies, revolutionary companies, and just growth stocks in general, okay? So we will be taking a look at this. Again, I will talk to you guys about how I see ARKK playing out over the next couple of weeks. And of course, a lot of the principles that we cover on this chart apply to many other growth stocks as well. But first, I do want to take a look at ARK Invest's website and talk about their little about section titled Why Innovation. When things slow down a little bit, I mean, again, they're picking up now a little. They're gaining steam following that huge sell-off that we've experienced for the past few months. But you guys, when things get slow, when the portfolio gets a little bloody, it's very important to remind yourself of the long term and to remind yourself of why you invest in these companies in the first place, why you like investing. The reason that we cover revolutionary companies and a lot of the companies that ARK invest, or a lot of the sectors I should say that ARK invest in as well, is because we're investing in the future. And that's what we're going to cover here. I don't want to just keep talking because we're going to read through this anyway. But you guys, the Waves fam, we've always invested in revolutionary companies. And the reason for that is not only because they provide the greatest amount of returns. The volatility comes with the returns, but over time, if you got the guts, if you got the grit to stick with it, they produce the greatest amounts of returns over time. Again, granted, you do your proper due diligence and whatnot, but it's just funner. You experience the volatility, but over time, again, you reap the rewards for being able to stomach that volatility and creating those calluses on your paws. All right, so we'll read over this prior to jumping into ARK on the charts, just to remind ourselves once again of why we're bullish on growth stocks from a long-term fundamental perspective. But before we dive into anything, you guys, means a lot if you give the video a like. Truly appreciate that. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Subscribe to the channel. That means a lot as well. And let me know in the comments down below, what is your favorite growth stock going into the month of April? April is in bloom. And before we dive into anything else, I do want to read a few short thoughts, a few key points from the intro to the first newsletter that I wrote this morning and sent out to the whole newsletter fam, just because it sums up my thoughts on the markets right now heading into this new month. And, you know, we're celebrating a little bit too, okay? So it's Monday. We're kicking off the new trading week on a very strong foot, Waves fam. Those April flowers are blooming early and they're blooming bright. The real winner across the markets, talking about Tesla and Twitter. You guys can pause and read that if you prefer, but we're not going to cover that now because it's not really relevant. The real winner across the stock markets today is growth stocks. Time of writing, you can see all those names. Not going to cover them right now. Obviously, the portfolio is loving the price action. Last week, we were testing the waters, and it may have been a bit chilly again. Monday, Tuesday of last week, if you guys remember, was popping. But then come Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, got a little chilly, okay? But right now, it's very bullish to see, in my opinion. It speaks to the optimism that investors have right now. The fact that we kicked off the week with such momentum, especially considering crypto wasn't looking too hot going into the morning. Just the feel of this current market environment is bullish, and I love to feel it, of course, considering doubt struck the markets halfway through. This week, though, feels like things are beginning to warm up. Let's hope investors feel comfortable enough to commit and dive in. As I mentioned yesterday, April, historically the best month of the year for the S&P 500. Obviously, this doesn't mean it's guaranteed to be good, but it does bring optimism to investors, and stocks love optimism. As of now, the momentum is definitely in favor of the bulls. I'm feeling confident that our early April price targets will be showing face very soon. Barely touched. This is just a little PSA and an insight as to how I personally trade. Again, I'm not saying you guys should copy this. I'm not saying it's right for you, but this is just my general thesis on investing. The very general thesis. I barely touched my portfolio, and I'm perfectly fine with that. And I actually prefer it. Do your due diligence, establish what you believe to be the most solid positions, and then grab the popcorn and watch those puppies ride until your price targets are hit. As far as longevity as a trader is concerned, that's what it's really all about in my mind. Achieving the greatest possible returns without the need for micromanaging your portfolio. Okay, so again, you guys, some people are day traders. Some people are just long-term, set it and forget it. Don't look at your account for months investors. I fall somewhere in the middle. I've tried both. I've tried day trading for a while. It wasn't for me. It's too, again, I don't like micromanaging. I like doing the due diligence up front, similar to some of these ETFs and swing trading. So playing a few weeks out, playing a couple of months out, having a general thesis on the macro trend. Granted, I'm playing growth stocks, so it's not quite macro. It's micro macro. But again, just finding some of these revolutionary innovational companies that I love. The fundamentals, obviously, always bullish on, but when the technicals look great, you got the fundamental and technical momentum. That's really where I personally thrive as a trader. And yeah, right now the portfolio is an amazing place. And if you guys do want to know how I'm trading on a daily basis, what my entire personal portfolio is comprised of, if you guys want one of these daily newsletters in your personal email inbox every trading day during market hours. This is only part one. Part two, we cover all the charts. We covered all the names you can see here today. In the second edition of the newsletter, actually not SoFi. We did cover Bitcoin though. Bitcoin's every day in the second part of the newsletter. But if you guys want all of that, obviously I'm biased. I feel it's extremely worth it. I work very hard on it. It's the first link down in the description box below. That is $15 a month or $40 for every 3 months for complete access. If you guys are signed up to the portfolio, if you guys enjoy the daily newsletters, please let people in the comments down below know. I can say this, I spit this in every video, it gets old, but you guys, testimonials are the biggest thing. So it really means a lot. Waves fam, true Waves fam, if you guys if you have to like the product, if you genuinely like the product, please let everyone else know down below, because once again, that's you guys will listen to each other a lot more than me. Okay, so again, I work very hard on this. Appreciate it if you guys check it out. First link down below. If not though, no worries at all. I appreciate you watching this video right here, right now. Let's get into it again. We'll kick it off with some little fundamental reinforcement and then dive into the charts, talk price action. All right. So, invest in the future. We believe innovation is changing lives in business, creating opportunities to own tomorrow's disruptors by investing in the future today. There's a lot of buzzwords in here. I mean, it's an investment tab, right? So you're going to use a lot of buzzwords, but it's a little, not even a PSA, just an observation, I guess. Capitalize on inefficiencies. We believe the opportunities resulting from disruptive innovation often are underestimated or misunderstood by traditional investment managers. Again, that's the beauty of a lot of you guys. I know I have a lot of older viewers as well, and a lot of older individuals of the Waves fam, but that's all right. Age, I mean biological age, it's just a number. If you as an individual prefer to invest in these innovational, in these revolutionary companies, you're on the cutting edge, you're on the bleeding edge, and again, that's why those trend spotters, those who can spot trends before the masses, which is kind of what this is saying, ultimately are the biggest winners in the long run. At least that's what, again, that's how I built the far majority of my net worth today. It's just trend spotting and high risk tolerance, if I'm being honest. Make the world better. We believe innovation can help transform and solve some of the world's most persistent problems and help change the way the world works. That one's obvious. That's just the nature of innovation. Okay, so again, you guys, it's always important, especially when things get kind of just when things just kind of suck, and again, thank God they're coming back, but things have just sucked for the past couple of months. You got to remind yourself of the long term, and yeah, just keep your eyes on the prize. Okay, keep your eyes on the long game, and understand that it's all part of the cycles, especially when it comes to growth and bull markets and hype cycles. It's all part of the game. Okay, and the longer you can stay in the game, the better you get at that game, and ultimately, the more successful you'll be over time, because like anything else in life, the longer you stick to something, the better you're gonna be at it. Okay, so that's that, you guys. A little TED Talk action right there, TED Talk tangent. But let's talk some price action. Once again, ARK feel this chart specifically best sums up growth markets in general. So we'll take a look at this and again, just kind of chime in on some of my general thoughts on growth stocks in terms of price. So ARK, following its breakout, let's zoom out here for ARK, and we can just take a look. Again, this sums up so much of the growth markets. We're going to see on the 4 hour, so it looks a little congested. But as you can see here, you guys, since ARK saw its all-time high back in February of 2021, great times, you guys. Great times, huh? Bitcoin miners popping off, Riot Mar, the Robinhood account just on fire. We'll be back. Again, you guys, it just takes time. Just stick to it. Hardship builds character. Anyway, over a year ago today, ARK saw its all-time high at $1.60. Then just a few weeks ago, right? Just a couple of weeks ago, mid-March, we saw the low where ARK actually dipped down to a level that, regardless of this, to the high that it saw back in December of 2019. So completely erased over 2 years of gains, right? We did bounce there, you guys. This was the level, and I had this level set for a while, just when I got really bullish on ARK, where I really got interested and I started investing pretty heavily into ARK in the personal portfolio. But from that high to that low we saw just a couple of weeks ago, ARK saw a over 67% correction. And again, a lot of growth stocks saw 70 to 80% corrections as well. So the fact that an ETF at this scale saw 67% correction, that's heavy. That is right in line with the dot-com bubble crash. And as we've been talking about too, the psychology of bull market cycles, of hype cycles, is the despair phase. And this area right here, where we see this range trading, and again, this is relevant to so many growth stocks, where we see this phase of range trading, kind of sideways price action, very volatile, but for the most part sideways. The downside, the majority of the downside is over once we start range trading. That's usually a good sign and good indication of the bottom. And when we've reached the despair emotion of the bull market cycle, okay, the despair phase. And if you guys watch that video, if not, it's all good, because after the despair phase is the reversion to the mean, or a reversion to the norm. Now, do I think that it's possible that ARK reaches these levels, these all-time high levels we saw back in 2021? Absolutely not, just because that was manic, that was hype. It would be extremely unhealthy and very troubling. It'd be great from a financial perspective, but it'd be very troubling from a macro, just fundamental perspective to see ARK reach these levels again, because the macroeconomic environment is extremely different, and that applies to most growth stocks as well. Obviously, some of my favorites, I do have reasons and rationale for why those will outperform the rest. But when it comes to ARK, again, just a general ETF on growth stocks, I don't think we'll see a new all-time high, but I do think some very impressive levels could be back in the cards. Maybe, again, the medium. Just find that comfortable middle ground. Not up here, obviously not down here, hopefully somewhere in the middle. Okay, so let's talk short term. We'll zoom out a little bit. I'll talk about these trend lines that I do think could come into play over the next month or so, okay? So short term, ARK following the break of resistance. This is a very significant trend line right here. This line you can see, boom. Touch point here, touch point here, touch point here. Very significant line of resistance. Now that we have broken that, we have been in a series, similar to many other growth stocks, once again, of higher highs and higher lows following that breakout. So boom, high, kind of low, really just going flat. So that shows that there's not much sell pressure even at this level. So high, low, higher high. Looks like we just set a higher low. You can see that 4-hour Stokes are curling up. When it comes to the RSI, the exponential moving average, or EMA, is the RSI is still above that EMA, which is bullish, and with 4-hour Stokes curling to the upside, that is bullish as well. So I will say, just talked about this morning in the newsletter, but I also covered these gems. I do think that ARK by week's end, maybe not by week's end, but definitely over the next, by mid-April, I'll say, just to play it safe. This price target is falling on April 8th, but it's as you guys know, it's completely dependent on when the trend line is struck. So just for the example of that, let's zoom this out to over here on April 12th. Okay, so that's like halfway through next week, right? Depending on when you guys watch this, but assuming most of you guys are going to watch this sooner than later. So if ARK does decide to test the line of resistance on this short-term uptrend right here on April 12th, that would take us to just under $80, or from current levels at $750, up about 13.5% from current levels. Now, short-term out of the way, there are some longer term trend lines that I'm obviously keeping an eye on. This one is very, very obvious, and this is ARK's overall line of resistance on the long-term downtrend. All-time high here, bounce we saw in November of 2021 right here, creating that second touch point. Overall line of resistance. In the case that we really do see a short-term comeback, if the Fed decides not to go too hard, I do think we could make a run up to test this line of resistance over the coming months. Maybe this month if things get absolutely wild, but again, the market's still kind of nuts. So I would be surprised to see it. I wouldn't be completely shocked to see it. But say we test this. Can I bring this over? Okay, yeah, we can't bring that over here. Say we test it. Boom, May 19th, my B day. Always reverts to the B day, okay, when we're looking at longer term price targets. Okay, if we test it, you know, let's just do it right here where we fall. What is that? May 20th, close enough. If we test this on May 20th, that from $75 to just under $100, claw back to triple digits, almost on the head in triple digits. If we do test the line of long-term resistance on May 20th, that would take us to or just under triple digits. Everyone's expecting triple digits, obviously triple digits, strong psychological even, but very possible. I think this needs to be tested at some point. Maybe it happens a little later. Maybe it happens in the summer, mid-July. In the case that happens, it takes a little longer. That would take us to $93 in mid-July. But the point is, I think there's definitely more upside ahead for ARK, at least in terms of a bounce. Again, do I think these levels will be reached? Do I think even like 125 will be reached this year? I think it's very unlikely, just in this environment of raising rates and the dollar gaining value. It just doesn't make sense. Again, it's a very different environment than last year. That said, I do think we're extremely oversold. I think most names in growth markets, especially ones that we prioritize here on the channel, have been oversold, and I think there's a lot of very, very exciting short-term price action potential in the cards. All right, so we'll call that a day, you guys. Call that a video. Wrap her up. Again, let me know in the comments down below what your favorite growth stock is going into the month of April. And again, if you guys want to know how I'm trading on a daily basis, if you guys want charts like these and many more, probably cover Bitcoin miners tomorrow. Probably cover a couple Bitcoin miners because Bitcoin's shaping up pretty nice this afternoon. Again, you guys, I work hard on this. I appreciate it if you check it out. Just subscribe if you've been thinking about it. Give it a shot. If you don't like it, just unsubscribe. It's that easy. But it means a lot if you check it out. I appreciate you if you do. And even if not, again, I appreciate you watching this video. So I'll catch you guys downstairs in the comments. Until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.